New rules for this year's crop of summer interns. Employers are rethinking their policies after a string of high-profile lawsuits by unpaid interns. Here with the details is WSJ management reporter Rachel Feintzeig. Rachel, thanks for being here.
No problem.
What changed in the past year that has people kind of rethinking the way we're using unpaid interns?
A lot of stuff changed. First and foremost, these lawsuits. We've seen a couple high-profile ones work their way through the court system, and we've seen more unpaid interns come forward. We talked to lawyers who are seeing, I think one of them said he had seen 40 to 50 interns in the last month come forward. They're seeking justice. They think that they've been, exploited. This year we've also seen a lot of change going on in legislation and companies and schools kind of responding to all of that activity.
The schools thing is really interesting. Let's talk for a minute about Christina and Sardi and what her experience was like and why that inspired NYU to rethink its unpaid intern program.
Yeah, so Christina was an intern in the summer of 2012, an unpaid intern on a film set here in New York, and she said she worked up to 17-hour days. She spent a lot of it, very far from the actual film set, just watching equipment for hours on end. She was taking coffee orders for the cast and crew, and she felt like she wasn't really getting a lot of educational value out of it. She was inspired to start this petition. It garnered over 1,000 signatures, and NYU says that was one of the reasons that it decided to kind of ramp up some of the protections for students when it's looking at job postings online.
And of course, in the past, it's always been this thing that your college university would require you to have an internship. Sometimes they would give you credit for doing an unpaid internship since you weren't getting paid. Looks like that's starting to change now. How are employers changing the way that they're dealing with interns?
So we've heard from lawyers that a lot of employers are just being super cautious. They're not sure how all these lawsuits are going to shake out. So a lot of them are just doing away with their internship programs altogether. We saw Conde Nast, obviously a really high-profile example. Others are switching to a paid model, but they're worried. They're worried about the statute of limitations if former unpaid interns are going to come forward years later. They're just proceeding really cautiously.
What's the calculation for the students on this? Because I imagine there are some unpaid internships that did give people valuable experiences, and if you do have employers kind of taking a look at those and saying it's not worth it, I imagine some people are missing out.
Definitely, and I think it's really tricky for the students these days. These spots are coveted. They're really important ways to stand out in what's been a really tough job market for young people. And some of the internships that are remaining, should be bulked up. We should see, companies are converting to paid programs. They're making sure that they're in line with these labor standards. But at the same time, we're probably going to see fewer spots, even if they are of higher quality.
All right, Rachel, really interesting story. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Sarah.